My creepy housemate, there's nothing like home, right? Well, depends who you share your accommodation with. Sometimes we complain about housemates that do not wash their dishes, or that leave a mess in the communal space. My case was a bit different. I lived with someone a bit more extreme than a lazy person. His name is James. At the time he was 32 years old, a fatty bold guy that used to smell of pepperoni pizza. He's been eating pepperoni pizza for months, the cheap frozen quality in packs of 3. Sometimes he would eat the 3 pizza one after the other, and never brush his teeth. In fact, you could smell his breath from across the living room. He was a brilliant jazz pianist, and it was really cool jamming with him. I'd play guitar. The fun part was only in playing music, nothing else, as his head was often up above in the clouds. There was a time where, here in England, magic mushrooms were legal, and in places like Camden Town, London, you would have been able to buy them almost everywhere. Even if they say that magic mushrooms are safe, any drug abuse leads to some sort of dementia at the end. Our house was a bit away from transports and shops, so that most of people who rented a room did not stay for too long, just for the time being, until they would have found a better place. Also, the house was a bit old and smelly. However, this was not the only problem. The problem was James. He was annoying. He would constantly ask to borrow money from the tenants and leave a mess everywhere around the house. I learned how to deal with him, like, if he would ask for money, I'd say, "Later I'm going to the shop, I will pop at the cash machine and get something." Then I would pretend to forget and find similar excuses just to avoid to say no. The rent was very cheap, and I would cycle everywhere I needed to go, so the location of the house was not a problem for me. Things started to take the wrong turn when a couple of girls moved into the house. He would walk around the house naked, just covered with a towel, and accidentally drop it whenever he would meet them, and he would just smile. The first time it happened, I laughed it off, seeing the face of the girl totally embarrassed in front of this round, pink, bold, sweaty, hairless guy was too funny not to laugh at. But by the third time it happened, I started to feel very creeped out. It had happened a few times when I was in the kitchen talking to my girl housemates. He would just walk in, drop his towel, smile, try to make conversation, but we would just leave the room feeling uncomfortable of what we just witnessed. It probably happened lots of time. I only saw it happening 3 or 4 times. It's not all. When the girls would literally run away when they saw him, he would chase them up the stairs and confessed his love for them, which it would creep them out even more. I cannot imagine how disgusting it must have been for these girls to be tormented in this way. I'm not too sure exactly when I reckoned it was time to move out for me too, but in one occasion, while talking to my next house neighbor, a very nice elderly lady, she told me she saw him once dancing in the garden or doing some sort of ritual. He was completely naked, all covered of engine oil, wearing a pair of knickers in his head and singing some made-out Arabic song. I tried to reassure her, saying maybe he was doing a video, as he used to play a lot with an old Super 8 camera, but of course I knew I was not doing any video. He probably was completely out of his trolley trying to scare the neighbors with his weirdness. That was something I could not excuse or even laugh about, and alarm bells started ringing in my head. He was not just a pervert, he was fucking crazy. He had a cat, and the cat used to bring little bunnies inside the house. Of course the bunnies would have been badly hurt. That's what cats do. They do not kill or eat them. They just play with these little creatures. I knew a vet that used to rescue bunnies for free. He had a garden full of them. But James seemed he loved finishing the bunnies by snapping their neck off and dumped them in a field near the house. In the field there was a playground for kids, so I imagined that some kids would encounter some of this dead bunnies while walking in the park. He also used to do stupid things like asking to borrow a lighter, light up his rolling cigarette, and pocketing the lighter right in front of the person he just borrowed the lighter from. He was a complete embarrassment to have around and a nightmare to live with. There are so many stories to tell. They all happened in the course of 10 months that I lost the chronology of the events, like the day I came back from Glastonbury Festival to find him naked sleeping in my bed. I remember shouting to him to leave my room, but he would not. I was so furious that I called the police before I would bash him with a metal bar of the scaffolds abandoned in the garden. But guess what the police told me? Note, it was 3 at night, they told me. You are both adults, you should be able to deal peacefully, so, fuck the police. I started wrecking his room to get him out of mine, and it worked. Seriously, what would you have done? Cooking my own meal was also always something to be careful of. I had to be present in the kitchen at all the times, or he would just spoon the food straight from the pot into his mouth when I was not there. Taking a bath after he did was also as disgusting as using the toilet after he used it. You do not want me to be descriptive. You know very well what it's like, a bath filled with pubic hair and brown spots of God knows what, and you know how disgusting it is to flush somebody else's poop. I now live on my own, and I have absolutely no intentions to share my flat with anybody. I wished I would be able to tell these stories in a better way, but English is not my first language, and, honestly, I would like to forget about this terrible experience. Allow me to advise you this. If you need to share rent with someone, make sure it's not a weirdo. Update. Here's a photo of the house. You can see the garden and the house of the neighbor too. http://I162. Photo bucket. Com albums T252 messes PLACES %20 AND %20 things home photo from satellite, JPG. And a close-up photo of James. http://I162. Photo bucket. Com albums T252 messes NEXT %20 TO %20 BE %20 cent JAMES %20 fag, JPG. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button to support my work. And as always, enjoy the fear, my dear.